is overthinking? Thinking too much about what might possibly happen in the future, worrying about consequences, going back and reliving things over and over again that have already happened, saying, oh, I should have said this and I could have said this if only I had done this. That loop that goes on and on. I have done this before. I don't know if you have too. Like, what if this sermon that I've just spent, 16 hours putting together sucks? What if I'm going into a room full of people to facilitate a workshop about how to de-stress, and I'm feeling stressed myself, and they're going to know that I'm stressed, talking about how to de-stress? What about thinking about terrible things that have happened in the past? You can inflate words. You can dissect even the smallest experience and read into it that which isn't even there if you are overthinking. It's a habit that can prevent you from taking action and can really seriously reduce your productivity. This is especially not good at work. Basically, you spin the wheel of indecision and don't go anywhere except deeper into the rut. There's a quote, if ever there was one. So why does it happen? Overthinking can happen because of past trauma and past negative experiences. It can be a result of fear. It can happen often for those who are lonely or who are suffering from depression. There is maybe not enough to distract your thinking. Maybe you don't have enough going on, so you go back into those old loops. Maybe it has to do with boredom. There are lots of reasons why you might be overthinking. Lack of confidence is another one. Lack of confidence in yourself and who you are. So how can you stop doing this? Well, the first thing to do is to become aware of it, as with much self-growth and development. Becoming aware is the very first step. Are you doing this? Notice when you are doing this, when you start to fall into the habit of overthinking. Pay attention to that. Another thing to do is think about how much time and energy you may have wasted in the past overthinking. How much has it slowed down your productivity? Pay attention to that, because you can change that. You can take control and just refuse to go there if you notice when you start to get into that loop, and take control of the story that you are telling. So in other words, you can change the story. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes it's you just react to things that happen to you rather than I wiggled the camera. You react to things that happen to you rather than actually saying, I am in charge of this whole thing. What am I doing? Stop it. Stop it. Talk to someone else for advice, for perspective, someone you trust, someone who knows you well, and get some reassurance from them that you don't need to worry about the particular thing that you're worrying about. As with everything, exercise works wonders. Exercise, walking, yoga, stretching, getting out into the fresh air, into the wild, beautiful world. These things can help change your mindset, get you out of those ruts, change your scenery, take a different route home. Just change something up and put yourself in a different physical situation can actually switch your brain and help your brain to refocus and gain some perspective. Do something for someone else to engage your mind and to get out of your own thinking. We are addicted to our own thinking. And so being aware of that and trying to get yourself out of that when you start going down that spiral is super helpful. Explore practices that train your mind, like meditation, like breathing exercises, like mindfulness. If you want a breathing meditation, I've got one I can link to at the end of this video. It's an audio version of about an 8-minute meditation that I recorded I guess last year sometime, and I can help you refocus and practice learning how to do that breath meditation. Self-awareness and growth takes practice, and it isn't going to resolve itself after just watching this one video, I'm sorry to tell you. But taking steps to take charge of our thoughts and our emotions over time can make a huge difference, can stop you from being an overthinker and switch you into being someone who thinks deeply in order to make a decision, to plan, to take action, and then gets on with it. So good for you for taking the very first step toward ending that paralysis by analysis. If you'd like to learn how to stop automatic negative thoughts, I've got a video that I will link to next over here. Hit that like button. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Well, you can't prepare for every single situation. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to a colleague of mine. This happened to him many, many years ago, but it just still makes me laugh. And it means that, it doesn't matter how much you overthink, you may not be able to think of quite this kind of thing. He's a colleague in ministry, a pastor, and he was asked to do a wedding. And this wedding was going to be on a little island that you had to take a boat to get to. And so he had met with the couple and everything was great and the wedding was all planned. And so on the day of the ceremony, he got into the boat that had come to pick him up, just a little boat. And it was, I don't know how many minutes, half an hour cruise over to the place where he was supposed to do this wedding. As the island came into focus and the beach area where the wedding was going to be, something looked odd to him, and he couldn't quite put his finger on what it was that he was seeing that looked very odd. And in the boat with them was one of the couple that was getting married. It may have been the groom, I'm not sure. But anyway, he was with somebody in the boat, and they were getting closer and closer, and then this horrified realization dawned on him that what he was looking at was a number of people on the beach who had nothing on. They were unclothed. And he sat there thinking about this for a moment, and he turned to the person in the boat with him and he said, "So, when were you going to let me know?" And the person said, "About now." So it turns out this was a nudist wedding. And he said, "I'm keeping my clothes on to do this." And he said the most difficult part was when he was marrying the couple was to keep his eyes on his paper where the ceremony was written, so that he wasn't allowing them to stray anywhere but the faces of the couple and the paper. And he said it was the hardest wedding that he ever did. Anyway, you could not have overthought that one. You could, I have not, even because I do a lot of weddings, I have never actually gone into a tailspin worrying about that, because that was probably a once in a lifetime thing. Anyway, thought I'd share that funny little story with you. Until next time, take good care.